What's up and welcome to episode 78 of How Not to Summon a Podcast. As always, I'm Shinny Senpai, and this week I'm joined by the guy whose only job is to look after the chickens, Jim.
Yeah, and I failed at that. Look at all these chickens.
60 acres of chickens.
And that man who's definitely flying the drone, Grayson.
What's up, Scooby Gang?
And this week we are doing the anime movie Bubble. So jumping in with the genre of Bubble. So Bubble was a Netflix anime. It's their attempt, because Netflix like to sort of have a dabble in anime, and this was one of their Netflix movies.
Have they ever succeeded?
I mean, I'm currently watching one called Comey Can't Communicate, and that's pretty good so far, and that's a Netflix original.
It's a silent movie.
It's a silent movie.
So we'll leave that question hanging, I guess, for a little while longer.
Do giraffes get itchy necks?
Yes, because they rub them on trees.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a video? I just want to see,
yeah.
like...
Yeah, you know the same way when you're getting itchy arse, you rub it up against the wall or whatever's near you. A
Yeah.
giraffe does that
Like
with
a
its neck on
bear.
Yeah.
So the genre of Bubble was it's a sci-fi. That's pretty much all it is. It's a futuristic sci-fi film.
And a bit of fantasy.
And parkour!
Parkour!
And lots of parkour.
Yeah.
Fantasy.
I mean,
yeah.
Little Mermaid's fantasy, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And this
Hans
is very
Christian
heavily just-
Andersen work.
Sure, yeah.
I think.
Danish, right?
Yes.
I think it started off as a
Yes,
poem or
because the
something.
Little Mermaid is a statue in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Which is fantasy, so I would say this is sci-fi
it
fantasy.
is a very it is Little Mermaid, but just a stretch of that tale
With parkour.
with
And-
parkour.
More true to The Little Mermaid than Disney's The Little Mermaid.
With parkour.
Yes, in fact, it follows the writing
They
of the
just
book.
changed the foam for bubbles.
Yeah, well, the same thing. Sea foam is basically bubbles.
Mountains are triangles.
Same thing. So it was directed by Tetsuro Araki. He has done things like Death Note, Attack on Titan, High School of the Dead. He's a good director.
Yeah, I think Netflix blew some money on this.
I think they did. I think they did, based on
this
the
is probably-
quality of the picturing of
The
it.
first one that I saw from Netflix of any kind of adaptation
Yeah.
or original manga work,
Yep.
anime work, this is actually okay.
Visually, it's
Compared to the
very
rest
good.
of them, it's fucking streets ahead.
Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna rival what we got from Grimgar in terms of visual. I haven't seen anything else do that yet.
We can't rival that at the moment.
No,
I don't
That
think...
is kind of peak,
it's,
isn't
it's, No, it's a different style.
but
But
it's
it's
but it's
out
that
of all
style
of
that
them,
stands out.
It's peak. That is the
It's a
one
very
that-
individual style.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be.
And would it work in
Oh
another
no, we
movie?
did see it. Garden of Words was almost watercolor-esque.
Yeah.
Very similar,
Some
yeah.
some bits, yes. But not in the same way where
No.
the background was watercolor painting and then the front of the action was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is to do with how easy it is to do on a computer nowadays rather
Yeah.
than it being hand-drawn.
This was just very crisp, like Weathering with You
A bit-
and things like that.
A bit too crisp at times.
Yes, yeah.
Like the
yeah,
motion
granted.
just wasn't fluid.
Yeah.
Sometimes it didn't throw you out of it. It wasn't jarring. It was just every now and then it maybe just notice.
Yeah, there
And
was
then
a
it,
lot of
it was fleeting though. Disappear.
there was a lot of frame changes when it came to the parkour.
Yeah, there was.
The studio that did this is Wit Studio. So again, this is the same studio that did AOT, and most recently they've been known for doing another new anime that's sort of come onto the scene that's really popular, which is Spy X Family. So voice cast. I only highlighted the two main characters in terms of voice cast. So you got Hibiki, who is voiced by Zach Aguila. He's best known for being Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, so literally the main character in Demon Slayer. And we all know that Demon Slayer is probably close to being one of the most successful anime series ever made. The movie is the highest grossing of all time.
It is indeed.
So it's a big voice actor. So as you said, they've clearly splurged on voice
They've
actors
dumped
and
some
stuff.
money
And
into this.
yeah. And Uta is voiced by Emmy Lowe. Now, she has done a lot of side character work, but this is her first sort of mainstream role as such, even though she's not the main character really.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's the protagonist.
No, Hibiki is the protagonist. Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that recently Netflix has chucked a lot more anime on?
Well, I saw an article recently saying that Netflix was backing out of doing animation.
Yeah,
An anime.
Yeah, I'd
I've
seen
read a
that,
very
yeah.
similar thing.
Yeah, they were decided that it was too expensive for them to put the money
Probably
into.
because they just made some really fucking shit decisions on what to do
Well,
with anime.
if you think that's a whole different unit to their studio, like, because it's a completely different art style and type of filming that they are not used to doing. It's different from a cartoon because it is. So they've got to pump all that money into this whole new version of style.
Or they
and
could just
art.
go back to what worked and actually
Yeah, exactly.
buy
Well,
the
that's
rights to
Has anything
animes.
actually fucking worked on Netflix from them in the anime scene? Pre this.
Not a lot.
There's
I can't name
nothing.
one.
There's nothing. That's why I said like earlier we need to put a pin in it because there are some coming through that might be
Even
good.
their
I want to watch
adaptations.
Way of the House Husband.
But-
Have you seen that
Mind
one?
you, saying that, this was not bad.
No, it wasn't. That's what I
Like-
mean.
Like this movie, considering what Netflix have done previously,
That's what I mean.
I was surprised.
Why didn't they do this earlier and actually make a successful
Yeah.
Netflix library of anime rather than half-assing shit?
But this is a movie,
and
isn't
then
it?
Dumping their crap into stuff like fucking
Live action
Cowboy
adaptations.
Bebop live adaptations.
Yeah, live
That's
adaptations.
fucking- that got cancelled after one season.
Look, we know what we scored Death Note.
Yeah,
the
and
live.
Another
you know,
prime example, probably the prime example of making poor choices when it comes to anime.
Massively.
You know
on
what you
the
did, Netflix.
you know what you did.
They know.
Like I just said,
They needed us as
What-
consultation.
That's why not?
One
Why
of the-
haven't they got a team that are clearly
Avid
based
fans.
around anime and are huge fans and know the scene and going, that's not going to work.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop
Just-
it before you spend your fucking millions.
Yeah.
Pack it in.
A team of weebs that they consult
Yeah.
with.
no, because we'd all be in one fucking room.
No, we'd want to write it ourselves, wouldn't we? We'd literally want them to
Yeah.
scrap the
We'd
whole
get
thing.
a script, watching, go, let's tell you how you can fix this.
Bring out the podcast mics.
Sit down with a podcast in the room.
Yeah, we end up on the special features as an audio track.
Just talking through the film.
Now,
This
the
is,
original scene of this.
you would not believe what they
Yeah,
did.
You would not imagine
So-
the shit that they left us with. They
Right.
gave us 3 body pillows.
Bollocks.
Bollocks. They gave us 3
Three
bollocks.
sweaty bollocks, some
get-
body pillows, and a lot
This
of
room
whiskey.
gives us sweaty bollocks.
as payment.
Man soup, this
It is very
weeb soup.
soupy.
So anyone want
Weeb
to?
soup.
Anyone weeb soup?
No one wants that. That's pretty much just Comic-Con now, isn't it? It's a weeb soup.
Yeah.
Anyone want to take a stab at some ratings? So IMDb.
Out of 10.
Out of
for
10.
IMDb, innit? I will say I don't think it'll score very high, even though it should, so it's 6.5.
And
I'm going to go with 6.
okay, so it got a 6.4
Oh, so
out of 10.
close.
Yeah, so and we did get an RT score.
All right.
Um,
Are we going with the actual RT
out of
critic
100%.
score?
Are we going with the critique?
No, there wasn't a critic score. There was only an audience
Only an
score.
audience score.
Yeah.
Okay. Since it's the audience, 70%.
I was
somewhere
going to go
around
76.
there. Yeah,
Okay,
somewhere
so
around
it
there.
got an audience score of 50%.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
But I don't think many people scored it. So that's a low. That's those dedicated people who just want to slag
their
everything
shit
off.
on.
Yeah, the ones that were like, I need to review this immediately.
Start a podcast then.
Hi, welcome to How Long to Summer Podcast. So, should we jump into the movie?
Yeah. Go
Yep.
on.
So the movie, it opens with space, galaxies, planets, and then it zooms all the way through all of the galaxies and planets, and we end up at Earth. And we see our main protagonist, Hibiki. He's floating underwater. A lot of animes, by the way, start with a character underwater.
I think they
The representation of
copied
it.
that from
That was in King's Game.
Yeah, the director that we like.
Literally.
he does that a lot. So much water, it's unreal.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
And this, I thought genuinely this was his work, just from screenshots and like.
Well, because it had
an
an original soundtrack as well.
Yeah, I was like, this
so
looks
yeah.
like his work.
Yeah, I can see that. It is used a lot as either a representation or just here's what's to come.
Yeah.
Like, so you knew it was to
And
come.
It genuinely seems like a bit of a sequel to Weathering with You.
It's because the art style was. Oh yeah, and the storyline is
Kinda
somewhat
lines up,
similar.
right?
Yeah, okay.
They
yeah.
fall in love, which means the Earth would have flooded.
Yeah, it's somewhat similar. Same shit happens to
Yeah.
Tokyo either way.
Yeah, I thought it was the
Your
sequel.
face is looking like mine when I realised I could actually record straight from my PC.
So we see Hibiki. He's underwater. He's inside a subway car that is underwater, and all of a sudden we see another character, Uta, who's under the water with him, who's swimming towards him. And then it sort of cuts away from that, and you get a visual of the intro of like a giant bubble over Tokyo, a bit like the Simpsons movie.
Was the bubble actually there during the movie?
It is.
You don't
yes,
see
yes.
it, but it's always there.
It's always there because
Yeah.
it pops at the end,
Oh, yeah.
but it is always
I
there.
was just thinking, it's not really shown that much. You see it right at the start. I
Ever.
was like, yeah.
You see it
that's
right at
what
the
I mean.
start, you see it right at the end, and they tell you about the bubble.
Yeah.
You can move freely in and out of the bubble.
Yes, you can. Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
Very
The
odd.
Simpsons already told us that that's not possible.
that wasn't a bubble. That was a dome.
Same thing.
said it.
No, a bubble's circular, and its consistency is of a bubble.
Why didn't they pop it?
Yeah.
Why
Could've
didn't
been-
humans just go
Well,
up to that?
you can
One
walk
kid
through
go
it
up
and
to
it
that.
doesn't pop. So I assume get the tanks out, just fire, and it goes straight through and just destroy something on the other side.
I mean, it's already fucked. You see the
already
inside?
fucked.
It's a really soapy bubble, and they're
a
really
really
hard.
soapy
They're
bubble.
so hard to pop.
It's the flex tape of bubbles. You don't understand.
It's constantly being sudsed up.
If you get one of those giant blooming hoops, do you get a second blooming
You could put
bubble?
yourself inside one.
Oh, God, that would be... Oh, you'd die. You'd totally die, because how would you pop it? How would you pop the bubble if you decided
Well,
to
you,
make a
how
you
do
just
they jump
float
on the
out.
little bubble?
You just
That's
float
a good point.
off. Anyway,
They jump on the little bubbles. That's the same bubble stuff, right?
yeah, but they do state that they're special.
Yeah.
Oh,
bubbles.
special bubbles.
They're
Well,
plot
I mean,
bubbles.
these are special bubbles.
They're plot bubbles, yeah.
They're plot bubbles. So we also see not only the giant bubble, but we see that Tokyo has been completely flooded, like at the end of Weathering with You.
The sequel.
And inside the bubble, we're introduced to a parkour event that
Should we do
takes
it? Should we
place.
get it out of the way?
Parkour!
Parkour!
I thought we'd already
Fast
done
as
it.
fuck, boy! I do like the fact that when this happens and you see the parkour event going down, they get one of the characters to explain the Tokyo Battle Core. Because one of the characters turns around to the other one and goes, "So tell me about what is going on here."
I'm still new. Explain the rules to me again, even though I'm playing the sport.
So you know you fall in the water, you're out, you're eliminated from the battle, and it's basically they play capture the flag with parkour.
We didn't need an explanation. Just show us what's going
Just
on
show
and
us
have
s-
people fall in and go, they've been eliminated.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have made a
Yeah.
difference.
But
I didn't
there's-
mind the explanation. It was all
No,
right.
I do.
There's also like
Because
um,
it was so out of place. It's like me turning around and go, so
Let me
what's
tell
this
you about
podcast?
podcasts.
What's this podcast?
I know I've been doing it for years, but please tell me.
What is a podcast?
3 dickheads on 3 microphones. That's what podcasting is.
And you also see the dark purple whirlpools. They do have a name. I didn't bother writing it down because it didn't make no sense.
The name doesn't
But
make sense.
No, it didn't
I
make
remember-
sense. So
I can't
it's
remember what it
literally a
was, but I
world.
heard
It's
it and went, that's not what
the
that is.
eye of something. Or, I don't know.
Sauron.
But
The eye
they're
of
just,
Sauron.
What, he's crying.
They're
It's
just-
the wet eye of Sauron.
but I guess
This is
fall
the
in that,
Jap's eye of Sauron.
fall in that, and you die is by assumption with that.
It's called a black hole.
Yeah. So you get
pretty much.
sucked into nothingness.
Ah.
Sounds like a good time.
We've all got big bollocks. Anybody actually jumping near that fucking thing at all ever?
No, if
Any
the parkour
circumstances?
event happens over the top of that, I'm like, nah, I'm all right. I'll sit this one
Yeah, I'm
out.
good. I'll go hungry.
You just fall straight in the water.
Dangle me over. Dangle me over. You told me it sucks real good.
Yeah, till your dick dissipates.
Or stretches.
Oh. Oh. Nice. He's got a blanket for the night.
Fucking meat
A
scarf.
scarf.
How did he die? Choked on his own dick.
Keeps me warm, but it smells funny.
He swallowed it.
You know he's one of those people that sucks on his collar and his scarves and stuff. Just it's not gay, it's my own.
So while the nice. So while this event is happening, we also see in the background there are drones. Well, a drone. I think they only have the one. There's a drone, and there's another set of people. I thought they, right, were going to be some sort of marshals or something. The guys with the masks.
No, they're the bad guys.
They
apparently.
kind of annoyed me.
The guys with the masks.
Yeah.
They're just another parkour team.
Yeah.
But I thought they were going to be some sort of like
All they were doing,
adjudicators of the games or something.
all they were doing was broadcasting their game. That
Yeah,
was
to make money.
They're streamers. That's fucking it.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be bad guys.
The streamers.
If they didn't kidnap that woman, they're not
Well,
bad
they
guys.
do try and kill people by kicking them into the whirlpool of death.
Well, that's their own fault for jumping near it.
They're probably on Twitch as well, to be fair. That gives me more
All
reason
they-
to hate them.
You know what that's the equivalent of? Having a gun and going, let's play Russian roulette.
You should play this game with the same
stupid.
camera that the train guy has, Francis. Just the above camera of you parkouring, because that would be fucking phenomenal.
See, I thought you were on about the...
One of those 360 cams.
Yeah.
They fucking make everything look weird.
We see the team that we're going to follow. They're in the middle of the battle. One of the characters who's called Usagi, which is the young
Blazers.
lad, the Blue Blazers. Usagi,
Everyone else think they were just wearing really fancy jackets.
just Blazers.
Fancy
Us-
lads.
Usagi gets cornered, and to get away, he sees one of the floating little smaller bubbles around, and he decides he's going to use it. Even though he's warned, you're not skilled enough to do that, he runs at it and he tries to use this bubble, and it's almost like a takeoff technique, isn't it? The bubble can force push you.
It's a plot device, I'll tell you that. It's gravity plot.
They don't
thing.
pop. You can just
It's a
bounce.
spring from Sonic.
Yeah, it's a spring. Yeah.
That's all it is.
But he, unfortunately, because he's no good at it, he springs off of it and ends up hanging over one of the dark purple whirlpools by one hand.
Black hole.
And then in steps our main protagonist, Hibiki. Mr. Cool. He's got his headphones on.
But the one thing I hated was how stereotypical this guy was as a protagonist.
Dark and broody.
As a
Having
parkour.
said that, really like the look of him.
Yes.
The design, he didn't look like...
I like the fact he's
had a very
special
different
because he
hairstyle
has
and
this
everything.
the hearing
Yeah.
defect.
He's Daredevil. He doesn't
Well,
like hearing
Daredevil
noises.
blind.
Well, he has eyes, and he
but
doesn't
he
have a
has-
sick set of nunchucks.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he has real sensitive hearing.
a real sensitive hearing.
He does have very good ears.
One hell of a lawyer. Oh, wait, that's a butler. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Well,
So-
it's from Hell's Kitchen. Here's one hell of a lawyer.
We see Hibiki burst into action to save Usagi. He bounces around on those small bubbles. He uses them with ease because he can sense them. So with this special hearing, he can... It's almost like the small bubbles call out to him.
That's because they sing.
Yeah.
It's the fucking Windows intro piece.
What?
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
They're going to say, like,
And that's
Close
not
Encounters.
Windows, that's fucking Curry's, isn't it?
It's fucking Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Actually, I think it's Dell. Yeah.
Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Nerd!
Yeah, that's when we first see, obviously, his hearing is special because he uses it to use the bubbles. They call out to him, he bounces off them, he saves Usagi.
I want him to
Oi,
take the
over here!
headphones
Come on, this one.
off. I want him to take the headphones off.
Touch me. Huh?
Whenever he does it, I want him to take the headphones off.
He does. He lifts them.
Yeah, I don't like that.
He lifts the earpiece to
Yeah,
hear out.
temporarily, and then when he's doing the part, parkour,
Then he sucks his finger and points it up in the air, and he's like, "Yes, the bubble shall drift this way."
puts it in a bubble. There is a bubble nearby.
And the bubble's like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh."
And that's how baby bubbles are made.
Ka-chow.
Ooh, woo.
You just Is that what you do at the end?
With that much enthusiasm as well.
I'm gonna ka-chow.
Ka-chow. Almost.
Is that
Almost.
because it's so fast?
Yes. It's like a speeding
Lightning
bullet.
machine.
Lightning machine. Hibiki manages to capture the flag and win the parkour battle for the Blue Blazers.
See, you're calling it Blue Blazers. It's the Blue Blazes.
Oh, it is Blazes. I'm sorry.
Not Blazers.
I just, do you know what? I even
no.
wrote down Blazes, and because he said Blazers,
It's the
I
Blue
just went
Blazer.
with it.
It's the Blue Blazers. It will always. It's a stupid name. It's the Blue Blazers.
No, it's because they're so hot, like the hottest flames are blue. They burn so hot. Yeah. So anyway, they live on the coast. Not on the coast.
They live on the coke.
They live.
Oh, the advertisement in this.
They
Will
live-
get Jesus
they
Christ.
live
Living Fanta.
It did
Fucking
say.
just
It
Coca-Cola.
did say at the
Everywhere.
It did say at the beginning. Product advertisement in this
Yeah,
film.
No fucking shit.
So they live on a Coast Guard's abandoned boat. It's a massive ship.
No Coast Guard's abandoning that boat.
Yeah, why are they abandoning that boat?
I guess it was used during
Why
the
would they
fall of
abandon
Tokyo.
it in
and
the
they,
middle of Tokyo?
why didn't they just sail it back out?
Yeah.
Like,
It's almost as if you're making sense.
oh no, but they do have to repair it, so maybe it broke down and the Coast Guard's just abandoned it.
Yeah, but
what,
why
the
would they
kids fixed
abandon it?
I don't know.
An entire crew went, this is fucked, but some 12-year-olds came
No,
along and went, we
no.
can make it work.
It's one guy's job to go, lads, it's not working anymore. We need to leave. Like, it is. It's the
That guy
one.
needs firing.
And then when he steps out of the bubble, they're like, where's the boat? And he's like, I had to leave it. They're like, that is 50 million yen's worth of equipment in there.
Grab a tugboat.
Engine
and
was
go and
fucked.
rid it.
Well, then just fucking walk back in the bubble with an engineer and fix it.
It's almost as if you're making perfect sense.
So, we also see two other characters that live on the boat, Makoto and Shin. Makoto is a scientist who is there to observe the events that are happening within the bubble.
I was waiting for you to say one of the other characters' names is Kai. Makoto Shin Kai.
It's our favourite director.
Yeah, it would be. If that had been in there, I'd have been like, yes.
And
I appreciate I appreciate your input.
God apples? Yes.
Yes.
Good old Rick and Morty.
Hibiki,
Fine, I'll leave. Yes.
we learn a little bit about Hibiki in the next scene. He talks about the fact that he wants to leave the bubble someday. However, there's something keeping him there at the minute that we will see.
Plot.
It's the song. He's drawn to the tower.
Great. He's a fucking sailor with mermaids, I'm guessing.
Sirens.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. To be fair, the Little Mermaid would have fucking killed.
Yeah.
The prince.
She would
That's
have
their
just
job.
like drowned him.
That's what sirens do. They just drag them down and kill them.
Yeah, well, not no. Mermaids and mer people are different from sirens. Sirens were
Same
the
Same thing.
mythol.
They're the same thing.
Same thing.
Okay.
Totally the same thing.
Same. Mind you, they're horrendous in Pirates of the
Why did she
Caribbean,
sing?
aren't they? Fucking hell.
Why did she sing? The Little Mermaid sang.
To
That's how
lure-
they draw sailors to them.
Yeah, to lure him in.
Had
Have
second
bubble babies.
thoughts, obviously.
Bubble
I
babies.
was like, hold on a minute, this guy's fit.
Bishop.
Keep him round. A prince, you say?
So the reason he's there is because he can hear these songs emanating from the Tokyo Tower. And for some reason, that's the thing that's keeping him there.
He's been there 5 years.
Yes, so it tells you it's been 5 years since the bubbles fell worldwide.
Get a fucking ladder and go up there.
But for some reason, they settled in Tokyo. So they fell worldwide. The whole world saw it. Panic ensued. There was a massive explosion at the Tokyo Tower, which happened to be ground zero for the event.
We panicking? Are
No.
we panicking
Because of
of
bubbles.
No.
Well, these bubbles have power. So they do
And
say early on that, like, people, when they first fell, people were, like, touching them and stuff, and they weren't popping or anything, and people were like, what the fuck is going on? What are these?
You know what you're doing?
They're aliens, right?
You get a
That
fuck-
is essentially what this is. This is why it's a sci-fi. It's because it's not fantasy. This is supposed to be aliens. These bubbles are aliens because she has alien sisters.
Does she have sisters?
Yeah, she talks
I
about her
just saw
sisters.
Negascott.
She
Yeah, I saw Nega Scott as well.
It's Nega Uta.
The ultimate enemy. You got to defeat yourself.
No, she has sisters. She talks
He's a
about her
pretty cool guy.
sisters.
We're gonna
My
go get
sisters
coffee.
are calling me.
Every week.
So
There's a Scott Pilgrim reference.
So Tokyo Tower is
rereading the books right now.
Tokyo Tower was ground zero of the explosion. It wasn't a massive explosion that blew apart Tokyo. It only blew up sort of the tower and a little bit of the surrounding area. When the explosion happened, all the bubbles popped and flooded Tokyo, and Tokyo got sealed in this large bubble. If all the bubbles popped
I don't
upon
give a
explosion,
fuck
wouldn't
how
they have
many
popped
bubbles
worldwide,
Yeah, they did.
flooding the entire world?
Yes.
Surely they did.
Yes.
But that's not referenced. Apparently, worldwide, they just...
Do you think the
Disappeared?
bubble contains the water level?
Yes.
Maybe that's why the boat got stuck.
What? Because outside the bubble,
God,
there's
yeah,
no water.
yeah, but
The
you'd
water
be
level
fucked.
would
Could
be
you
normal.
imagine
The drop-off.
walking into the bubble
would you get in?
at fucking ground level and you're submerged completely underwater? Literally, you walk in, you're like straight away. Swim up a fraction and go out, and you drop like a stone onto the concrete.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Now,
yeah.
if Mario physics have taught me anything,
What you'd have to do is, as you go in, you'd have to have one of those life buoys. And then just be like, see you later. Go, "Hey."
A live boy.
A live boy, yeah.
A sacrifice to the bubble gods to let you survive.
Lob him in.
Come on, Pedro.
Pedro.
Wait, what was my
Why
little?
is he
What was that guy's name? The one that I had?
Mooney.
Al Mooney. There we go. Al Mooney.
Pedro.
Come Al Mooney.
You can't sacrifice Harmony. He's a good server.
He's a good guy.
Breaks the fall.
Catch me, Harmony.
You know what, right?
Al Mooney, God damn it!
You had one job.
Just the problem, right? I could see him with a guy called Al Mooney, but he would be Phileas Fogg in around 180 days.
Come Al Mooney. Next stop, Berlin.
You can imagine it.
Get
couldn't
my
you?
bags.
There's a lot of those.
Sarah, all your bags are emotional.
I can't carry all this emotional baggage.
You'll do as I say, Al Mooney.
Drop some of your emotional baggage over the side of this hot air balloon before I drop you.
Suspend him off the edge. Okay, anyway. So no.
I'm out of beer.
Al Mooney aside,
Oh God. Hold on. So, no one knows why these bubbles have fell. Nobody can.
Are these bubbles really flooding the planet? Are you popping a bubble
guess
and
if-
going, oh, there's a puddle?
If they're famously they're not full of water,
No.
so don't know.
are they
Yeah.
just like the fairy liquid bubbles?
just
No,
flood
they
the bubbles.
they literally flood the city. I don't know why or how, but it happens. So the city, upon being flooded, evacuates. They find out that they can obviously just slip out of the bubble, so they evacuate Tokyo, and for some reason, all the orphans that there are about decide that they want to go and live in the bubble. So they did. They went into the bubble and they lived wherever they could find and gathered food. I think at some point we do see them
They
scuba diving
dive
down
for food, don't
for
they?
supplies.
Tins and stuff.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Apparently, the government's like, yeah, cool.
Ignore the rust.
Don't have to worry about that.
Your spam's fine. Don't worry about the metal bits.
Your spam would be fine. Though.
Hibiki makes his way to the Tokyo Tower and he begins to climb. He heads towards the sound, the song, and you see him parkouring his way up. And he makes a leap to get to the middle platform that's sort of suspended, isn't it? And he sees somebody at one of the windows of the Tokyo Tower, and it sort of catches him off guard, and he falls. Was it himself?
Yeah, you see it's him.
Okay, so he sees himself, and then he falls into the water. He whacks his head, and ends up getting sucked into that train car that's swimming by.
Why
Yeah.
is it?
Why is it moving?
Why is it chuffing
It's floating.
off?
Because
Floating.
apparently there's currents. Well, there would be currents because there's whirlpools about, so the water's going to consistently move,
And
isn't
move
it?
a train.
Well, they're fucking powerful whirlpools.
Look, all I'm going to say is, right,
These kids are scuba diving in that. And
Yeah.
there's trains flying by.
yeah.
Oh, strong swimmers.
Strong swimmers.
Imagine being on the outside of that bubble and then all of a sudden it just fucking freight train.
It just flows through. Mummy, I want to look at the bubble. Oh my god. Oh, Mooney, no. I'll have to get another one.
I'm Moody the Third.
What happened to the second verse?
He is how many? So as he's sucked into the train car and he's floating around, he's going to die. We see a single bubble that has been following him panic when it sees this, and then it assimilates other bubbles together to form Uta, who swims into the train car, kisses him to give him oxygen. We knew that was coming.
Yep.
Wouldn't you just fill it with bubbles?
A bubble
She's
filled
full
with
of
what?
bubbles.
I guess
full of
I guess she's got air.
Well, it's got oxygen and pneumonia then.
Yeah, so she fills him full of oxygen and
What's that
saves
thing
him.
that happens when you go too low in the water and then you get the bends, isn't it? filled full of bubbles.
Yes.
Well, that guy's got the
So
bends.
it's-
He has.
What, as the Mercedes flying by?
He got
Nice.
He would though, if he's full of bubbles.
We also see once Uta has dragged him out of the water, the finger that she had touching him to pull him out, when it made contact with his bare skin, turned to bubbles or sea foam on impact. That's why we see her with gloves later on, because she hides it. Hibiki, he wakes up. He's on the boat again when he wakes up. He doesn't wake up on the shoreline, does he? He wakes up on the boat
What
again.
shoreline?
I keep saying shoreline. On the boat.
On a building somewhere.
On
It's on a random fucking building.
Yeah, he's just been dragged onto a random building.
How did that guy know? The other guy.
Shin,
Yeah.
he
How
just
the fuck-
appears and brings them back
Yeah.
on a boat.
How does he know? Is it just like
Because Plotkin.
yeah? There's so much.
That's it.
Shin knew that he had gone off to the tower,
Again.
and he set off in that boat towards the tower to go and save him or get him back. And he's obviously stumbled across them because he fell right near the tower, didn't he?
Yeah.
Unless he floated a long way off in the train car.
well, he floated to the coast from what you said.
Yeah.
He's got a long way to go by the looks of it.
So Uta,
Isn't Tokyo next to the coast? It is, isn't
not
it?
quite. No.
I thought it
It's
was.
a giant river, isn't it?
I
No,
thought it.
it's
No,
got-
I thought it was in a bay.
I thought it was in a bay.
It is in a bay.
I don't know. As far as I'm aware,
It's
it's not
Tokyo
coastal.
Bay, right?
Tokyo Bay.
Don't think it's coastal.
I'm pretty certain it's coastal.
Bloodbund was in Tokyo, right? And they had an island off
No,
Tokyo Bay.
Okay, you got too far right here. We're
Buns.
not calling buns as like that's
These
not.
buns are like islands.
Well, I'm not taking
Google
anything that's bloody the blood bun as
Okay, all right, no, we'll Google it and have a drink at the same time. Stand by for intermission.
because I want to know how the water works.
We're strapped in the bubble.
Yeah, but like when it hits water, the water's going to hit water.
No, it's not. It's not coastal. The area of Kawasaki is on the coast,
There.
and Yokohama is on the coast, but not Tokyo itself. The center of Tokyo, which is what is sealed off, isn't coastal.
But it's got a bay.
I don't even think the waterway. It might have a waterway that
Tokyo
runs
Bay.
in. Yeah, it has a waterway that runs into it, but
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering because that's still the sea though.
yeah, but if it's sealed just before the sea,
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me because that would tell me that it hits the water, but then it's full of water. So what? Does the water just roll into that water and doesn't move?
yeah, I guess so. Does it flow in or out?
It's physics, and I don't like it. So it is sort of. It's like there's a Tokyo Bay.
There's a bay, but it's not really.
No.
It's
I
the
think it was
outer.
attached
It's
to the
outer
ocean.
outer
Yeah,
Tokyo.
It's attached to the ocean
Yeah, by a bay.
by a bay. Yeah, but I'm just trying to work out how the water physics work.
For what?
Just like if it's
the
trapped in a bubble, and then there's water inside the bubble.
Yeah.
When the water touches the bubble, does it go into the water? Because if that's the case, then the water's higher there, and then the water there.
Well, things can pass through it. So water
Yeah.
must be able to just pass through it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
So the
assume
water
so.
level must be
If
one
there's a
thing,
current.
unless water is the one exception, in which humans are fucked because 30% of you's getting through and the rest isn't.
Yeah, well, that makes no sense to me. Like, it's a plot device bubble.
It's a bubble.
It's a plot bubble.
No, it's
A bubble.
the main part of the story bubble. The Tokyo is sealed off. That's the whole point. It's not just a plot
But it's
bubble.
not
It's
sealed
part
off.
of the
Not sealed
story.
off though,
It doesn't have to be. That's the point. That's what they explain. The orphans went in because they could.
and they couldn't go out. Obviously,
They can. They can leave whenever they want. But they're orphans. They've got nothing on the outside. They prefer to live in the bubble and play parkour.
Parkour!
I'm just confused about the physics. That's it.
Once Hibiki has woken up, we see Uta on the boat. She basically she's a cat. Her mannerisms are animalistic. That she's a cat. She acts like a fucking cat.
And they call her a cat girl, don't they?
What,
They're like,
Nico?
oh, look at this.
Yes, yeah,
cat
they
girl.
say she's like a cat because she acts exactly like a cat. And in the night when she's supposed to sleep, she can't sleep and she ends up at Hibiki's bedside while he's sleeping. She just watches him sleep because obviously there's something drawing her to him. And I think she touches him again while he's asleep, and a little bit more of her hand turns into sea foam, and she pulls away and realizes she literally cannot touch him at all. So she ends up looking out from the boat at Tokyo Tower and she starts to sing. And you see that she is the source of the song almost. It's odd. She sings to the tower and the tower sings back.
It's like a resonating sound, isn't it, to them? It's communication through different forms.
She is communicating with whatever is within the bubble around Tokyo Tower. The next scene is we see them all around the dinner table, and that's when Hibiki names her Uta at the table. I can't remember what it stood for. There's a reason he calls her Uta because it has a meaning behind it. We do get background on Shin though. Shin has a metal leg.
The irony, right?
So basically, Shin was one of the
Original
parkourists. Yeah, he used to do a lot of parkour, but for some reason, the tower called out to Shin as well, and he attempted to climb it, and that's how he lost his leg. So he's the original Hibiki.
What?
Shin tried
He's
to.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Shin was drawn to the tower as well and tried to climb it, but failed.
Look, don't try and confuse me any more than it already has, this movie. Because, like, why is he drawn to it? Do we get a
There's
reason for
literally
this?
no reason.
Do we
He
get a reason?
doesn't say he can hear the song, but he says that he had an interest in the tower for some reason.
I think it was more curiosity than it was.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. That is the center point of everything. I want to have a look at it, and I'm really good at parkour, so I'm gonna have a go.
Just get a ladder. You've been there 5 years.
Everything floats though, doesn't it?
Well,
You probably
We all float down here.
The ladder just float off.
no, just tie down the ladder at one end and then tie it at the other.
You got to get there to tie it to the other.
Yeah, but it's floating. It's fine. Like we already said, gravity makes no.
Yeah, but the minute
difference
you
to
then
this
step
thing.
onto it, it's gonna push it down. See.
Right, well then get somebody to hold it up.
So the next day we get another parkour event, and
Parkour.
we see the masked men. I think everyone else calls them the Undertakers.
The Undertakers.
Yeah, the Undertakers. That's not their actual team name. They have a different team name, but everyone calls them the Undertakers.
The Red
And
Blazers.
their brother, Kane.
And they have now acquired jet boots to help them with their parkour
Where
activities.
the fuck do these get the water from to do what they do?
Yeah. Where do they get the money?
I don't know. You think there'd be like a hose that is dipped into the water
Yeah.
from a great height? Do you know what I mean? Like the jetpacks that you get on the water, they have
Yep.
to be. They have to have a hose in the water to push through.
That's where our Mooney is.
And it's definitely water. It's definitely water, isn't it?
100% water.
It's definitely. It's not air.
Nope.
It's not
100%
compressed
water.
air.
I thought it was air.
It would make sense
It would
if it
make
was
more
compressed
sense if
air,
it was compressed
but it's
air.
not. It's water that comes out the end of these boots, and they end up winning very easily against the Mad Lobsters because of these jet boots.
Fucking mad lobsters.
I like the I like the leader of the Mad Lobsters because he keeps sniffing that bear.
I don't.
He's got a scented bear.
It changes as well.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Later on,
He might have a few.
Else. Yeah.
he's got a collection of scented bears.
I don't know what to or how to respond to that.
That evening,
When he's sniffing that at
Yeah,
the
it's a bit
start,
weird.
I was just like,
yeah, until it was
Bit weird.
explained.
no. Even
You
when
were
it's
like-
explained, I'm like,
He likes the smell.
all right, yeah, no,
Great.
but I don't sit there going. To just
Yeah, but
everything.
it's his
because it
calming.
always
It's his
smells good.
calming
women's
technique,
feet.
isn't it? It's his calming technique. People have stress balls. He has a sniffy bear. So
Just leave that.
that evening, Makoto reads to Uta, and Uta wants her to read the story of the Little Mermaid, and that's when you're like, "Oh, this is the Little Mermaid." Everything is starting to make
I
sense
hate
now.
it when they do this.
Yeah,
hate
so
it.
in the original works, the Little Mermaid doesn't end up with the prince. Instead, she saves him and turns to sea foam and dies.
When they did this, I was like, so we're just gonna get the Little Mermaid.
They probably thought they were being really clever and were like, this is foreshadowing.
I like-
In reality, it was like, this is just what's going to happen.
This is your
You
plot.
wouldn't make the connection unless they told you of the connection.
It was worse when you
Not for
seen
like the average viewer would need to
Do
know.
we need to? Do we need to make the connection to the Little
I
Mermaid for
suppose
it to be a good story?
not to dangle the end right in front of you and go, you like, because they do. They set the ending up, and you're
If
like,
they
so
just
she's
said-
going to die then.
Pick a story and she pulled out the Little Mermaid and it ended there. We didn't get the reading of it.
Yes,
That would have been fine.
yeah,
but they didn't.
That's foreshadowing.
But they-
what
they-
they did was nudge you on the arm and give you a wink wink.
they use it a lot,
Which is one
as a
thing
reference.
I don't like about this movie at the moment. There's way too much over explaining. There's way too much of this is what is going on. This is what's about to happen.
I think they use the story of the Little Mermaid a lot to drive the story through because literally the next scene is when she's on the deck with him, and she turns to him and says the first word she ever says is "You're the prince and I'm the Little Mermaid." So she makes an association with herself to the works in the book.
Don't have the reading. Don't have the reading. Just have her say that.
But she wasn't aware of the story of the Little Mermaid until she's read the
Yes,
story.
but we don't need the reading of it. Just
Oh,
tell
you
her
mean
to
have
pick
the
a
book
story.
pulled out,
Yeah,
but then
and
she's
end
up on
that scene.
Okay.
And then later on, have her first words be Little Mermaid, Prince.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That makes sense because then anyone who would be familiar with the original works would know where it was going.
Yeah.
But for us,
it
who
was
is,
a-
you know,
It
The
was a
ending
nudge
would have
nudge
still
to
been a
people
surprise.
that have got that sort of understanding of the Little Mermaid. For everyone else, it's like cool, but they don't understand what the reference.
that's
means.
probably why they did it though. Is why they sort of talked you through the story is because
But that's
for
the problem.
people who aren't familiar with it, I wouldn't know the
Don't
story
try
of the
to
Little
make
Mermaid.
an original works, even if it's based on something,
Yeah.
and then put that something in your fucking original work.
Yeah, it's a very odd technique. Very odd technique to almost spoil
the ending.
everything about the story.
Yeah.
And go, by the way, guys, this is loosely connected to the Little Mermaid.
You say
In case you
loosely,
didn't
but
know.
it's almost
no,
completely...
it is very loosely because I didn't see the Little Mermaid parkouring over buildings, but
that was in the extended
But a better
edition.
movie.
That's the extended edition. That one.
you know she didn't whip out a fin-tail jet to take off out the water.
She whipped out some bubbles instead.
No, them starfish had a good time though.
We know about those starfish nips.
Starfish on the nips because their mouths are located in the middle,
That's how they stay on.
clinging to dear life. So then they take off, and there's the parkouring together. Arguably the best parts of this movie
Visually stunning.
when they are parkouring side by side. These were phenomenal moments in this film.
Visually and
The music,
music-wise,
the music, the
very good.
visuals, the feeling in that moment was brilliant.
Very good.
Yeah, that hands down some of the best bits of this film. The best bits of this film. After that, you do see the little scene that we mentioned earlier where they dive down for food. So obviously, it's a bit of Waterworld, that is, because
Fuck me, what a terrible movie.
yeah, I know, but he dives down, doesn't he? Because
I
he's got
fucking-
gills. Has he got gills?
He's got gills.
He's got
yeah.
gills. Yeah.
He's a mute.
You seen Waterworld?
No,
It's,
Oh.
Don't.
Kevin Costner.
I will.
I loved Kevin Costner. Mostly
He
because of
filters his own
Yellowstone.
piss for water.
But yeah, he's. But he
I love the fact nobody ever found land, but it wasn't that far away.
No, no.
Because
Fuck
land
me.
doesn't exist anymore. Because the world is water.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I got
floods.
that from Waterworld.
But everything about that movie's bad.
So this place is called Bubble Land instead of Waterworld.
Bubble World.
No, it sounds like a theme park.
It is.
Sounds like a really good fucking rave, if you ask me.
Bubble Land. Love it.
Over the span of a little montage, we see that Uta starts to read more and she starts to learn. I think also Makoto does take it upon herself to sort of teach her like maths and English and things like that as well. So Uta does start to become intelligent.
Learning Miss Marple, this thing.
And there's also a talk, which is probably correct, but there is a mention by Makoto that in 4.5 billion years' time, the Milky Way will burst and collide with Andromeda,
That is correct.
and all will cease to exist, and then that collision is the end, but also the start of a new world and a new, I guess, solar system, and which is correct, I assume.
It is
Yes.
correct.
I assume they've done their research.
They have.
Because that's an odd claim to make if not.
No, it is a
The
100% correct.
chances of things hitting something else, though, are very slim.
But
It's
they're
a
actually
thrown
talking
out
about
of-
the Milky Way colliding with another
Yes.
galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chances of things hitting are very, very slim.
Oh, do you mean like planets colliding?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Purely because of the size of them and the space between.
Yeah.
The gases and that, and the stuff in between planets.
Yeah.
100%.
The gravitational effect is where it will fuck everything up.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they're introducing suns and everything into a galaxy that didn't have them.
So an interesting thing to mention very briefly.
No, because also they try to reference it at the end, don't they? But
Well, they
we'll
say
get
that's
to
what
that
this
bit.
is. It's like a beginning of
Rebirth,
the end,
apparently.
and it's the
Yes.
cycle of life is that it all ends and then
Yes.
re-begins. And
which
everything
which
evolves
essentially
again,
is what we see at the end with what happens to Tokyo. It goes and it comes. It's a rebirth. After their parkouring, they end up. Hibiki ends up taking Uta to his garden that he tends to on one of the rooftops.
Anybody doing this?
It's his side hobby. He's a
No.
florist.
No.
Not happening.
Yeah.
If you look everywhere in that city, it's fucking green.
I suppose, what would you do with your downtime?
Read, play video games.
You can't play video. There's no electricity. Well,
The
there is
lights are
some.
fucking
No,
everywhere on the
no,
boat.
there is. Yeah, there is electricity. There must be,
They've
but
got
it can't.
music and fucking cooking. She's got
Yeah.
50 billion computers on the fucking
Yeah, but
boat.
are you not going to do anything that's out
Sure,
and
it can
about?
run
If,
Doom.
if you're that good at parkour, you can get anywhere you want to go.
Great, I
so-
can parkour all day, every day.
Yeah, I'd be super hench.
Yeah. You can go have a look at ruined buildings over here and ruined
Well,
buildings over
the
there.
reason that he does this as a side hobby and takes himself off is because of his hearing. Because it's the time away from all the noise that he has where he can take off his headphones and just relax and listen to the breeze and the I think the birds and stuff. He likes listening to nature.
I'd just throw shit in.
He gets naked on his rooftop garden and lays in the flowers.
You would.
I am not parkouring naked. Just
don't
in
have
case
to
you
parkour
catch
naked.
it. You misjudge that jump, mate, and your nads get
You can
hooked.
use it like a monkey tail.
Well, after he stretched his out in a whirlpool, he's got a lasso.
I would be throwing shit in those black holes. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be my day.
I'd be throwing people in those.
What, like a monkey throwing shit.
Oh, I
Pooping
see
in his
what.
hand. Ugh.
Take
that.
I know one of the theories on black holes that comes out somewhere else. Someone else might be getting
I'm
some
sending
shit.
my shit to another
That's
galaxy.
a wormhole, not a black hole.
Yeah, he's
Same
right.
thing.
No.
Same thing.
No.
Same thing.
No.
Yes.
A black hole is compression.
I don't
a
think
wormhole is
that.
not.
No, they
know.
haven't found wormholes, but isn't a wormhole an association with a black hole?
Yep.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
They go hand in hand in sci-fi
Yes,
through confusion.
but I don't think they've ever found an actual physical representation of a
No,
haven't.
it's a
wormhole.
theoretical, but they're not the same thing.
So they're
because
100%.
it's
They're
impossible.
100% sure that if you went in a black hole, you die.
you just die. You'd be crushed
no.
down to the smallest
No,
thing you could
they
ever-
don't know what
Yes.
happens over the event horizon.
Well, somebody's
of
got
a
to go
black
throw
hole.
something in one, haven't they?
Exactly, and I will be that pioneer.
With his cock.
It just floats off into the black hole.
The ultimate sensing equipment.
Do you know what'd be really funny though? Like, I would never know what time I hit that black hole because time changes, isn't it? As you get closer to a black hole.
Yes, but
It slows
time
down.
would be completely different on Earth as to is to the nearest black hole.
Yes.
So,
Sorry, I've got real into space after
Yeah.
watching the James Webb Telescope and shit like that. I've been watching loads of shit about space.
The final frontier.
background into Hibiki. He explains to Uta about why his headphones are so precious to him. They were a gift from his mother because as a child he had sensitive ears. And we see sort of a flashback to him going through the testing process getting diagnosed with this condition. He had MRIs and things like that. By the way, representation of the MRI was really good. The sounds
Yes,
they
and
used.
they had the little
Because
squidgy
it sounded exactly like an MRI machine.
They're horrible.
Yep.
It's a weird noise.
Then we see him get left in a room with other children who seem to have the same condition as him. They all had their headphones on. And his mother sort of just leaves him there. I don't think she ever comes... Does she come back?
Nope.
I don't think she does. I think she just abandons him.
Does she take him to the tower?
I don't
he's
know
only
who-
an orphan because
I don't know
think-
who takes him to the tower, because the next scene we see him at the Tokyo Tower when the bubbles begin to fall. That's not when they first fell, though, right? Because I thought
No,
the
they had
bubbles fell
fallen
for a
before.
little while. Oh, yeah, I was going to say. So, but we see him at the tower, we see it explode, and we see that somehow he survived and was found at the base of the tower unconscious. So it didn't flood immediately after the explosion. And he recalls the song to Uta that he can hear coming from the tower.
It's just a 4-note chord, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like a message through space.
That's what I said. It's the blooming same thing as...
It's a common theory that the only way you could communicate with someone who doesn't speak any
through tonal chords.
language that could be rooted
Music.
somewhere else.
Not even music, tonal
through-
chords.
Yeah.
music and time.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Uta demonstrates for us by standing and humming a tune. And that's when we get another scene where they parkour together. It's almost like a dance. And they're singing at the same time. This
She's
is...
singing, yeah.
This is arguably the best moment in the whole film.
Again, it's a very artistic, visually stunning
Yeah.
area of the movie.
Yeah. That is the only moments that really captivate you. And at the end of their parkouring, he goes in for a high five, and Uta pulls away because she can't touch him. Although she's got gloves on. Surely
Yeah.
she can high five with the glove on. So the Undertakers have a submarine.
Wow. I was waiting for this point to come up. I was like,
Speaking of being wet, the Undertakers have a submarine.
So the Undertakers have like a periscope comes up out of the
why
water.
these
Where the fuck did these guys afford that?
It's Team Rocket looking motherfuckers over
Well, the
here.
fact is, they're that desperate to get their hands on the lifeguard boat, but they already have a submarine themselves.
Yeah.
They just don't like it, I guess.
No, we want your one. Like this
We
one.
need somewhere to dock the sub.
Yeah.
Why do they talk through the hand?
Like that.
No, they
won't
just hold their hand
They
out
hold
and
the
then
hand out.
it's like a voice
So the
box.
speakers-
it? What is it supposed to be?
Because
Like,
they're so emo.
it's not emo.
It's fucking edgy.
Edgy. That's the one.
Fucking
With the
get so close, you'll cut yourself. They're so edgy.
We find out from Makoto that all of a sudden the gravity waves are becoming unstable. Ever since Uta appeared, gravity waves have been.
We can't.
Hectic.
We can't sense gravity waves. We don't have.
No, she has the equipment, doesn't she?
There's no equipment that does that.
Seismic.
We get
equipment.
We can.
I don't know. We
understand
can
the
detect
gravity of
seismic
things.
waves, can't we?
Yes, because they are a physical thing.
Yeah.
Gravity is not detectable by itself. You can use the things around you that are affected by
The
it
only thing
to then measure.
they found out about gravity when an apple fell from a tree, so that kind of
Yeah.
there's gravity.
That's how we learn about black holes, isn't it? And gravitational waves.
Yes.
That's how we measured a black
We,
hole and found
yeah.
a black hole.
You
Through
measure
them-
the light that's going around it.
There you go.
Yeah.
But she's got the equipment to do that down here.
Yeah, apparently so.
On a fucking broken boat.
Yeah. There's probably got a fucking Commodore
But don't worry,
64
because
on it.
she's not around for much longer. Because the Undertakers sneak onto the boat and kidnap Makoto.
Why? Like, none of this makes sense.
The real
Why?
question is, why is she fucking hanging out with some 15-year-olds?
We don't
Well,
ask-
she's
we
also
don't ask these questions.
she's become the mother of the group, hasn't she?
Why?
I guess
Why?
she had to live somewhere to do her research.
I know that
and-
Limpy McGee's fucking dad of the group, but
yeah, I
why,
get.
why
Well,
do they need these things?
I
I,
don't know, she
understand
just-
Limpy because he's
she
a
likes
fucking-
them and associated
She
herself
works
with
for the
them.
government as
Yeah,
well.
she does, yeah.
apparently.
You think they put her up in a nice
Yeah.
what?
Broken hotel?
Give her her own
A
boat.
boatel.
Give her her own boat.
a motel.
So we see that the Undertakers have also been live streaming the games, and that's where they got the jet boots from. So they live stream on the
Sponsors.
drone, and the sponsors bought them jet boots. I mean, fair play to them. They're ahead of their time if the other ones weren't thinking about that. Uta, upon finding out Makoto has been taken, she gets serious and gets pissed off.
I don't know who you are.
She becomes a bit of an 11. Anyone get 11 vibes from her
Yes.
at this
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Not for very long, but angry 10-year-old.
So the Undertakers
Very
challenge
horny.
the Undertakers challenge Blue Blazers
She's doing it on purpose.
to a parkour event
Parkour!
where Makoto is the prize. So if Blue Blazers win, they get Makoto back. If Undertakers win, I guess they still get Makoto back, but they lose their boat.
Yeah, I don't understand what is the jeopardy here. They're like, what are you going to do?
You're still
with
gonna
her?
you're just gonna lose the boat.
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
I'd be like, no.
Why do they want the boat? If they're about streaming and money and viewers and
They just
sponsorship,
think it's a
they
sick boat.
can't do fucking anything from inside the bubble with the money, the viewers, and the sponsorships.
It's better than their sub
Look,
because the sub's dingy and it's got
So sell the
holes in
sub
it.
and get a boat.
that's their sub goals.
Subscore.
I know what I did there.
That's their Patreon.
Yeah.
the match starts and the Undertakers clearly get off to a quicker start. They've got the jet boots and very quickly two of the members of the Blue Blazers fall to the water. They end up luring Uta, Hibiki, and brooding guy who's on their team, the one that's like, fuck Hibiki, the leader of the group. Can't remember his name.
Redhead.
Yeah, they
Oh,
lure
okay, yeah,
they lure
Redhead.
the three of them to one of those vortexes
The
within the
angsty guy.
water, and they get stuck on the edge of this pit. And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to cut our losses. We've lost." All of a sudden, Uta takes it upon herself to jump over the vortex the whirlpool, and she starts parkouring across the bubbles and debris that are floating above.
It's not happening. I'm not doing it. It's not happening.
Hibiki sees this and he follows with a boost from
Angsty
Guy. He gives him a boost, and they both then start parkouring, traveling together across all the debris towards Makoto and the flag. He also drops his headphones
He does.
while parkouring.
And then gets them back later.
Does he?
I thought he did.
I don't see him wear them again. He does drop them and never, and he doesn't even
If
care.
he doesn't, he should.
Yeah,
He's either
considering
got a condition or he hasn't. He doesn't get to choose to just turn it off.
that, and he made such a point of how important these headphones
Yeah.
are to. Although, are they important? Because they were given to him by a mother who abandoned him.
Well, it's not about the headphones. It's a condition, and the
Yeah, I
ones
know,
that his
but-
mother gave him were the blue.
But they
White
can't.
ones.
They can't only be. They're not the only set of headphones in the world.
No, obviously. But the ones his mum
Get
gave
some
him were
new
blue
ones.
ones, and he's wearing white ones, so he clearly got these ones for himself.
Oh, so he drops ones that he doesn't give a shit about.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the headphones aren't what's important. It's important is either he's got a condition and needs them
Yeah.
for medical reasons,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
he
yeah.
hasn't and doesn't need them.
Yeah, but when in the after party later, they're like, "Are we too loud?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah. So he's either got a condition.
Do you
or
think?
it's a
Do you think?
fucking lie.
I was gonna say, is he putting it on? Is he putting it on? So just as they get to the crane that Makoto's on, one of the Undertakers basically blocks their path, and Uta sacrifices herself. Oh no!
Stands on his
Don't do it! He's gonna
He's gonna do it. He's
stands
gonna
on his face.
sacrifice
She leaps
himself.
because Hibiki makes the jump, and he holds his hand out, and Uta doesn't want to jump across and take his hand because she knows she'll dissolve into bubbles. So she uses the Undertaker as like a leapfrog and bounces off of him. She misses though and grabs him anyway, doesn't she? And her arm just dissolves off.
Doesn't he throw her?
Yeah,
He
yeets her on
launches her
Yeah,
up,
look.
doesn't he?
Can't be
How
that heavy.
fucking strong is he?
No,
he
he
must weigh bubbles.
I mean, she's bubbles.
Did you not see him doing pull-ups earlier? Guy's hench.
Shit.
And she's made of bubbles, mate.
Yeah, she's made of bubbles.
Light as a feather. So
Like, could you not yeet some
He's got
bubbles?
fucking biceps the size of a Coca-Cola can.
they get the flag, they win Makoto back, and they keep their boat.
See, the thing is, right, you're worried about Makoto. I wanted the food.
They-
There was so much food on
No,
there.
I want the big tick scientist. That's what's the real price here.
She's not here for you. She's here for the black
she likes
holes.
she likes
I'll
Shin.
fucking show her a black hole.
Oh, yeah, she likes Shin.
They party after the thing. They smash the drone. Because that's a fuck
Why?
you to the Undertakers, I
Why?
guess.
It's unnecessary.
I love that.
Unnecessary.
You as an Undertaker. That's unnecessary. Why did you do that?
Look, I have a problem.
That's my income, man. Not cool.
I have a problem with the Undertakers.
Yeah.
They have no
Chill.
reason for what
chill.
they do.
But they
Because
have a
everyone-
reason for
everyone just hates
everything
them, don't they?
Except the kidnapping and stuff. It's all right going to challenge someone and
Yeah.
going, let's up the ante a bit. Your boat versus
My
submarine.
boat, my sub.
Yeah.
It's just
But
got
they're
Subway.
like, they have no chill. And they go, well, your boat versus the woman that was with you, but we kidnapped, and you can have her back if you win.
Because fuck you. That's
Yeah.
why.
But there's no stakes.
No,
There's
no.
no
Not
stakes
for them.
there.
No, but that's why they're the bad guys.
The boat
'Cause they
is the
either
stake.
give a woman back that should be free and with her mates anyway, or they get a boat.
But we have no reason for them to do what they do.
No, it's purely plot.
It is just plot. It should
It's to
literally.
put another parkour bit in.
Yeah,
and
everyone.
maybe
They needed an enemy.
You need risk.
Yeah, but they're not even an enemy.
No, they're not.
At the end, they're like, "Here's some shoes."
Yeah.
No. Do you want to buy some shoes?
Who's buying shoes off these guys?
No, I don't want to buy your shitty shoes.
Fucking
So-
Yeeties.
While the parties, while the,
Yeeties. Get it.
while the party's going on, Uta has made her way to the garden on the roof alone, and she starts singing to the tower, communicating with the tower. And suddenly, like a dark hole surrounds her, and she starts talking to this light, this thing within.
Never scored.
And it's her mermaid sisters want her back. It's another reference to the Little Mermaid, that her mermaid sisters wanted her to return to the ocean. And she references it saying, my sisters are calling me back, like the Little Mermaid sisters did to her. She sees the city fully underwater, destroyed, with the vortexes everywhere. She sees what is to come.
So, are these aliens invading and they want to destroy the world?
Or they're a higher being that is resetting the world. Are we a social experiment for another planet?
Don't you start. Are we in a simulation? Probably.
No,
All they need
or are we a television program that other places are watching?
Probably. Like, let's be honest.
Is Earth a TV program?
It's a sitcom. It's a sitcom.
Season 2019.
And here comes
Shit.
back Boris 2030. He's back, folks.
So
You
Easily
thought he
solved.
was
If they're
gone.
alien invaders. You just need one ship at
I
the
don't-
bottom that can move left and right and shoot up.
well, she goes out of her way to stop the sisters. So
waving
they
your
are
hand.
obviously trying to destroy Earth, I guess.
I was trying to put a spell on you.
She, she goes out of her way to stop them. So clearly they are actually trying to destroy
Yeah, so they were here.
Tokyo, I guess.
So the way I see the plot now is that they came here 5 years ago with the intention of
They didn't want to do anything, apparently, but they got angered.
By what?
I don't, people pushing the bubbles, I guess.
No, the only bit that angers them.
Somebody
If they-
did something to a
If they
bubble.
did their research, they would see how we treat bubble wrap.
Somebody did something to a bubble. And that angered the bubbles.
That's how baby bubbles are made.
He's put his dick in it.
That's what humans fucking do. If they see a hole, they put the dick in it.
It's not a hole, it's a bubble.
You make a hole.
It's a goal. I don't know what you're on about. But the only time they get pissed off and the world gets destroyed when he touches that bubble in the tower.
Yes,
Yes.
when he communicates with Uta.
So
That seems to trigger everything.
they obviously don't want them communicating.
No, probably
So
not.
I
Then
have
why come?
To have a look.
just they're tourists.
Have a look at space.
Have a look.
Fucking typical tourists.
If they can turn
Let's go
into a
down there, have a
human
look.
form-
They violated me. I went down there for 5 minutes and one of them put their dick in me. It did not take them long. They're animals. they don't deserve space
Have you
travel.
watched Avatar? Because that's the plot to Avatar.
They do not deserve space travel. They are not part of the Union.
Fucking union. Show me what you got.
We showed them what we got.
The bubbles came with a song, and we did not.
We got
respond.
Swifty.
We did get Swifty
So
with
he,
puffy pants and panties.
Take shit on the floor.
Hibiki joins her on the roof and he gives her the shell necklace as like a present.
You can hear the ocean.
He hasn't made
Hear the ocean.
he hasn't made any reference to the fact that she is missing an arm. Nobody has.
And the fact that when he grabbed her arm, they turned to bubbles.
She
He knows.
yeah,
He
she says
totally knows.
Well,
When-
she's fucking foamy.
yeah.
he hasn't seen it yet. She says to
No,
him
I thought he did when
No,
she
he-
had no arm when she was waving the
no,
flag.
no, he doesn't see it until the last minute that she dissolves.
Did nobody basically turn around and go, yo, you're missing an arm?
You're looking a bit bubbly.
No,
eh?
because she just lets her sleeve hang, doesn't she? And nobody says anything. Literally, that's it.
Why,
She
why did she like stick a glove on the end of it? That was just a floppy arm with a glove.
Wacky waving inflatable arm, man.
he says to her, he gives her a bit of a speech about how since she's arrived, she's helped him become himself.
Cured.
He's like, I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing with myself, and
Faking
then
a disability.
I was faking a disability. Retention.
To get some sick headphones.
And he goes in for the kiss, and she stops him, and then he's like attacked by these vicious red bubbles that come out of nowhere. And I think they take her away, don't they? The gravitational waves have gone haywire, the same as they did 5 years ago. And then I believe bubbles start to fall like they did 5 years ago.
There's lines on the screen.
And
They're all over the place.
The bleeps are bleeping.
That one's supposed to be booping. That one's bleeping.
Why is that flashing? That's never flashed before. Wow! Evacuate! So Makoto's like, we must evacuate the whole of
Did
Tokyo.
he stop 5 years ago them destroying the world? Because at that time the bubbles were falling all across the world.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they were
He
chill
then-
bubbles.
Yes, but it's centered on Tokyo, didn't it, instead of
Yeah.
worldwide, which is odd.
Yeah,
Because
but
he obviously did something. That or Uta did something to only
do you think their
generalize it.
this is the way I interpret this now, is their contacts stop them destroying the world.
Possibly.
Why come then if they're not to make first contact? What do they expect as
And
a
when-
race? Say they are a sentient race of bubble people.
Is it
They
100
come to a different planet. What?
Or
Not
they-
expecting contact.
Or
is it
they've
supposed-
ascended from physical form.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Say it's that. Did they come to a different planet, not expecting to make first contact?
Is it 100% consent that they were going to destroy the world?
I-
But if
no.
one of them dissents,
The fact that she says she has to stop them
yeah, that's
would
what I'm on about.
indicate that they are trying to destroy.
No, but that's what I'm on about. Is it 100% consent? You've got to consent to them destroying the world. All of them have to consent to
What, you mean
destroy
like
the
a
world.
union?
Yeah, like
Everyone
a union.
has to agree.
All
or
bubbles say aye.
No agree.
Basically,
All
and then
bubbles say
she
pop.
she got in contact and she realised that it was different, and
that-
she
yeah,
dissents, and
maybe.
now they're like no, and she's been like that for the last 5 years.
She's been holding them back.
She's been trying to make contact
Yeah,
for the
okay,
last 5 years,
okay.
and then
What,
she
with the
makes
song?
contact with the song, and then they're like no, come back into
Great.
the fold.
You're just describing the plot of Close Encounters.
Yes. That's what they've done. It's Close Encounters of the Mermaid, Colin.
She's not swept away by the bubbles because this is when he sees her arm. As they dodge the red bubbles, he sees her arm, and then he gets a glimpse of her memory from before, where he met her at the tower, and he's like, "Oh, you were that bubble.
You were that bubble.
You were that bubble."
I did not put my dick in you.
And and
The other
Uta
day,
says,
once you pop,
Uta says before,
he just goes,
Uta says before she leaves, "I must stop them," and goes. And Hibiki, who has fallen into the water, he's pulled from the water because Shin has arrived with his boat. No,
Wait.
the boat turns up.
Oh, yeah.
The
yeah.
fucking
the big
Coast Guard
boat,
boat
yeah.
turns up. They pull him from the water, and they're trying to navigate through all the buildings, but eventually they get pulled into the pull of one of the vortexes. But it's blocked off by a building, so they crash into the side of the building that's holding them back from the vortex.
Is that building holding up? Being smashed into
It's
no, it's not.
after being in
structurally
water?
sound, that one.
That is
Yeah.
a strong building right there.
Yeah, but a plane can bring down a fucking entire tower.
We're not talking about that. That's metal. And it was melted.
What? There was a person at the top.
And it
like,
would
massive
oddly
bucket.
look like a controlled
Pretty fucking
explosion
metal.
that dropped down instead of tipping.
Uh-huh,
But anyway,
uh-huh,
so Uta
And it's dropped from the
conspiracies,
bottom instead of where the actual plane hit and the fire.
and
was.
there was explosions heard at the basement,
And
but
3
yeah.
towers fell a lot too.
and the Pentagon was hit, but the plane disintegrated, and there was
Yeah.
nothing left of it. Anyway, conspiracies.
Jim's like noting the time. Don't want to get CIA visits. Not today.
He's got a text from the CIA. You up?
Do a hey with 3 Y's.
Shit.
You're gonna get fucked.
I have nothing to do with this.
So, I'm compromised.
This has been recording for the last hour. I don't know what you're on about.
So Uta arrives at Tokyo Tower. She walks in. That's the end of her for a little while. Hibiki decides he's going to go to the tower because that's where Uta is, and he needs to save her.
That's
And
a pretty big fucking assumption.
And I guess that's the best. I mean, that you just know. You'd be like, that's the
This
center
is
of
the
everything.
I'm going to the mothership to get her back.
Yeah, and for once, instead of going alone, he turns to the rest of them and he asks for their help. He asks for Kai's.
development.
Kai is his name. Kai's help.
Do you think the bubbles aren't sentient life, but a representation of the universe itself?
Yes,
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black holes.
However,
hanging around.
they're talked about as being sisters beings.
Yeah,
Are we
So I don't
talking
know.
Interstellar?
kind of.
You know what I
But
mean?
Interstellar's
Fourth dimension.
about a time travel with the fourth dimension.
I think the general message of this is what they emphasize with the whole collision rebirth thing, that everything has a time and will
Surely
collapse.
only the universe would be able to decide when that is, though, and not
Absolutely.
a sentient race.
Or Thanos, either one. We essentially have the power to reset everything with nuclear war
Yeah.
if we wanted to. Like, if everyone had had enough, they could all hit their buttons and we could reset.
Yeah.
It would take a long time, obviously, for the gases to disperse, but life would go on. This planet would run with or without human
that's
beings.
the thing.
Probably
Everyone
better.
says you're destroying the planet. No,
yeah.
you're just destroying the habitat that makes us survive on the planet.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
planet will be fine.
The planet would go on without
It
us.
just won't be fine in its current state, but that's always changed.
Give it a few million years and it will be back to normal, and the monkeys will be running it all.
The monkeys are currently running it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's the evolution of the fucking cockroach, whatever the fuck that is. That'll be running the
I
planet.
mean, to be fair, there's already cockroaches running this country as well.
Nice. The
It's
Undertaker.
a pretty convincing wig.
The Undertakers sell
Very
their.
nice.
The Undertakers sell their boots to help them
Why?
on their mission.
Why? Surely they just lost sponsorship.
Well, I think they're more. They just want help. I think,
But that doesn't make any sense.
no, it's
Yeah.
against what we've seen. Yeah, but they didn't harm Makoto, even though they stole her. I guess that was their way of going. We want that boat, and what would they put up against the boat?
Why do
they're
they
not
want the
good.
fucking
They're not.
boat?
They're not. They don't want our shitty sub. So Makoto's the best prize.
They have
Maybe
no
that's their
plot
twisted.
driver.
It's literally none.
No, I know.
They're such a weak device to put in some kind of. It's
More parkour.
it's like a rival, but
Yeah.
without any actual reason
Stakes.
for being a rival.
Yeah, I know. So the group arrive at the Tokyo Tower, and as they begin to parkour up, all of a sudden, one of the spider webs. I did write it down. That's the vortexes in the water.
Oh,
They're called spider webs. 2 spider webs begin pulling them down because the suction is so great.
Lucky Mr. Spider.
Luckily for them, Shin turns up to save the day. And Shin, we see the scene where Shin does his own bit of parkour, which is a sick scene, by the way, when
It
he
is cool.
spinning kicks the fucking debris away with his metal leg.
with his fucking
is
absolute
sick.
hood scene.
With a regular leg,
And
that hurts.
He is a fucking breakdance god.
Yep.
He
And
is.
then it ends up being just him and Hibiki, and he boosts Hibiki to the point that he couldn't reach on his own before. And in the process, Shin does break his metal leg
He breaks his
as
shin.
well. He breaks the shin and leg.
Made from a fucking shower rail.
He gets to that center
that's it.
observation.
What treasure planet shit are you watching?
They say that. That
Yeah, they
looks
do.
like your
Yeah.
shower rail. Am I
Yeah.
right?
He gets to the
Genuinely in the movie for no reason.
Hibiki gets to the observation deck of the Tokyo Tower, and all of a sudden, all is calm. It's dead silent, calm around him, and for some reason, the observation deck is frozen in time, and all the people from 5 years ago are there, including
Including him.
himself as a child. Yeah,
Which is some interstellar shit.
That is, I told you.
and we get a flashback of when the explosion happened at the tower, and we see that he was saved by Uta, who sort of formulated a bubble around him and floated him down to the bottom of the
It looks
tower.
like a bed of bubbles.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he touches himself.
Go on.
I knew I had to do it, and
Pull
I was
yourself
like,
out of that
oh,
one."
for God's sake. He touches the younger
I
version
too.
of himself? Is that any better?
Worse.
It's worse, right?
His uncle turned up.
Everything dissolves, and then he sees Uta sort of floating up above him, and there's a shadowy figure of
It's a
herself.
black and white Uta.
Grabbing
It's a
hold of her.
nega version. Let's call it what
It's,
it is.
it's her sister.
Scott Pilgrim fucking did this.
It's her sister.
It's nega. It's what it is.
And unfortunately, Hibiki
Uta.
can't reach her. And the red bubbles come back again, and they start attacking him. And eventually, one of them catches him.
What
and
damage a bubble's gonna do?
see this
Stop
bubble.
popping.
This
It's
bubble
annoying.
is full of water because it surrounds him and starts drowning him inside it. And Uta sees what's going on, and she turns and she starts talking about the Little Mermaid in her head. She starts telling the story again of how the Little Mermaid ends. And
But it wasn't as a sacrifice. It was because the prince
She's-
was a.
she sort of kicks off her sister who had got hold of her, and she flies down. She grabs Hibiki and she embraces him.
Is it the C word?
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, can we just re-go over that bit again?
Sorry, hold on. Let me. It's because the prince was a prat. There
Thank
Is
you.
that better?
That's better.
You want to put that back?
Yeah, I
up?
will.
So
Sorry, don't worry. Just add another 15 minutes of editing
she,
into my life.
she grabs Hibiki, embraces him, and they slowly fall while she dissolves. The Tokyo Tower collapses around them, and Uta starts recalling her days with the group and Hibiki. There's a flashback to all the time she sort of had fun with them. And there's like a really nice visual moment is when she's dissolving and the animal bubbles and all that fly out behind her. Sort of they formulate as she's telling the story. I really like that moment. And the giant bubble around Tokyo bursts, and the two of them fall into the water. Again, he starts to drown, so she kisses him, gives him oxygen. She's almost fully gone now. She's just basically a torso and a head.
Basically a stump.
And
But a flesh wound.
he pulls her onto the rock, and he sort of screams, "Don't go!" And he tells her basically what she said to him earlier. She says to him what he said to her earlier was, "Because I met you, I could be the me I wanted to be." It's a lovely message in this.
That's good.
I do like
I
it.
approve of this.
Yeah. And she also talks about, since forming into a person, like a human heart is so important because it feels pain, it feels loneliness, and it feels love. Like
It's almost like they needed education on emotions.
it's emotions. Like she said, like being human made me feel emotions that I hadn't felt before, and they're wonderful. Even though you can feel pain and loneliness, it's what makes you who you are. It's a lovely message to throw in at the end. Like it wasn't going that way, but to throw that in at the end was lovely. It was a good message.
Good bit of writing.
Yeah, and she dissolves.
Well, that's just let's call it that's the fifth element.
Is
She
it?
only saves the planet because Bruce Willis's character, after she becomes human, because she's not human, she is. I mean, it
An
doesn't
element.
make- She is.
She's the fifth element.
which is emotion, but she
Yeah.
doesn't know that. She's supposed to be an alien, and when. At the end, when he gathers the four elements, and she is the one in the middle that's supposed to have the power to stop evil, pure evil, it's the fact that Bruce Willis says that he loves her after, seeing what humans do, destroy and blow up the earth, and
Yeah.
kill each other and cause each other so much pain that she's willing to save the planet.
But that
This
not
is
a
the
cliche in... There's quite a few movies that have done that, where like different things have said, like beings have come down to
The
see...
day the earth stood
Yeah.
still.
The day the earth stood still, they come to read us and see what we are like, and if we're really truly horrible. But then there's, they find out that not all people are bad.
That's how you can tell it's a movie. And that they tried to put a happy spin on it. No, it's all shit. It's a shit-covered sandwich.
Well,
not
they
all
do
shit,
cover it
no.
though. They do say that even though you're subjected to pain and
Yeah,
loneliness,
could you imagine a place of pure joy?
it would be
You'd
there's a
hate it.
game.
You'd fucking hate
There's
yeah,
a
it.
game.
you'd be the happy place.
That game where you take the pill and you're constantly smiling
Oh,
and happy.
We Happy Few.
Yes,
That's the one.
Fucking, yeah, it'd be hell.
yeah,
be
and
hell.
it would be hell because you need everything, the good and the bad.
Balance is what it's all
Because
about.
those good moments are better if you're in a low moment.
Yeah.
Oh, like
And they come along.
Equilibrium.
But you wouldn't look forward to anything because everything would be
Fun,
Equilibrium.
I guess.
normal.
Yeah.
You've seen
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
movie,
we've seen
right?
You
Where it's
take away joy because it becomes the norm.
Yeah,
if
equilibrium. You take the pill
you take
to
away the
suppress
emotions.
So
Yeah.
humans are just drones that
Yeah.
do their job and
Yeah.
then go to sleep and do their job and go to sleep.
So as she dissolves, the song that we heard plays out across
It's a good song.
everywhere, I guess.
I like
And-
it. I love
Yeah.
the fact that it was a constant through the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it never changed. It was just those 4 or 5 notes.
Yeah.
And then you got one scene where they expanded on it into a full fucking
Yeah.
orchestral piece that was gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they went back to just those 5 notes.
Yeah. The musicality of this
Absolutely
is
phenomenal.
brilliant.
Phenomenal.
Bubbles then begin to fall all over the world again, almost like a reset. And there's a reference that when the world ends, we will all become nothing but a massive vortex.
Just bubbles.
And
This is
he
the drill. We understand the vortex is the,
Yeah.
the drill. Like Gurren Lagann did this fucking
is,
15
Gurren Lagann.
years
yeah,
ago.
and Hibiki does say, he says as she's gone, he's like, "Let's meet again someday," as if she's
When
not
we're both
fully gone. It's like at the end of the world, we shall meet again when we are reset. It cuts to sort of the aftermath of everything, and we see that Tokyo has now started to rebuild. The water's dissipated quite a lot, and they're now starting to rebuild Tokyo. It's
You
reset.
would anyway, right? You'd make it into a Venice.
However, the parkour games are still going on. They've restarted those. And we see Hibiki parkouring along, and Uta is there alongside him. He's got like a bubble companion now.
Are we going to skip the part where he's parkouring with her head? Because that was fucking weird.
With her head.
Yeah, when she, a bit earlier, when she was disappearing,
Yeah.
she just had her head and was holding her head and parkouring with it. Did you not see that bit?
No, I didn't see that bit.
It was fucking weird.
Oh, no, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
I did see
I
that
saw the
bit.
little
Oh,
bubble. I saw a
weird.
bubble
It was
alongside
when
him giggling.
When she kissed him and he,
Yeah.
for the second time.
Oh,
and
okay.
said, yeah, he was trying to escape with her and she was just a head.
But when he's got her on the rock, she's a torso and a head.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought we were just going to skip the head
Yeah,
run.
I was
So,
just gonna brush past the fucking.
That's the end
The
of
talking head.
Netflix anime movie Bubble. What are our final thoughts?
It's, after critiquing it and going through it bit by bit, fun but flawed. It's got many questions that are unanswered in what it is.
what she is.
But I still fucking had fun watching it.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. It was like a Marvel movie. You don't expect it to make much sense, but you just kind of go along with it, and you end up having a good time.
Yeah, I was very much the same. Very much the same. I actually really enjoyed watching it, regardless of the explanations that I didn't really get.
Yeah. We got none for the bubbles.
The visuals of it and the music
Phenomenal.
of it,
Oh, phenomenal.
and even like those parkour moments where they're parkouring together, they just made up for so much
Just
of
the
the
right
other
amount
shit.
as well. They didn't
Yeah.
make the movie a parkour movie. They just put parkour in the movie, and when you saw it, it was a pleasure to watch.
For an original, from no offense to Netflix, from a company that hasn't
Shit
been getting it
fucking
wrong,
supplier of anime.
they did a really good job with this one. They did.
They did. Jim's saying differently.
It's unfinished for me. This is my explanation of
What
why
do
I
you
don't
mean
like
unfinished?
it. Okay, there's
Let's
no
start with that.
explanation to. There's no plot driver for what actually is the big bad.
What? There is no big.
There's
bad.
no explanation of actually what's going to happen.
The thing is, it's not a big bad. It is chaotic neutral.
But there's no explanation to what
that's
is happening.
The
No,
story.
that's the bit that fucking annoyed me the most. Is you? But if you know,
You have to think about it yourself.
The story
You have
is
to-
them,
Yeah,
not
no.
what's going on around them. Strangely enough, it's not the focus of the whole thing is their love story, not
and it is
what is
For
happening.
Once, I fucking hate to say it, but I agree with the fact that this is a love story and not
Yeah.
a sci-fi.
it's, yeah, it's
Maybe,
not.
but
The-
I
the-
was
this
not.
The
is
main
invested.
focus
sci-fi
is them.
primarily. This is love first in a sci-fi setting, not sci-fi that happens to have love in it. It's the other way around.
But it has to have
It
a
does.
plot behind it.
It does have a plot, but the plot, whenever it
So
goes off,
convoluted.
whenever the plot breaks away from our main two characters, it doesn't do well to explain itself.
No.
Yes,
That's its number one problem.
It either over-explains shit that doesn't mean anything.
You
the
needed-
sport,
you
where
needed-
you only see it 3 times.
Yeah.
yeah,
You see 3 times.
yeah.
And you don't need over-explanation.
No,
but
they
it
spent
doesn't
a good
give
20
you.
minutes on explaining and showing us this sport at the beginning.
Yeah, that didn't have much
That
of a
was a bit
reference.
too much for how often it appears.
Yes, yeah. No,
But then
I agree.
they under-explain what the bubbles are doing
Yes. They
there, and
could've-
actually,
Well, this is it.
What is the problem with them?
Give it
Yeah.
all you needed was Uta to turn around towards the end and explain to Hibiki, we came here because of X.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling like, why?
Why?
And now I've got to stop them before Z happens.
Yes.
Like,
But even then, you've got a big problem is, at the end, they showed you the nega version of her.
yeah, we understood she
Which-
had evil sisters,
Yeah,
but
but why is it a mirror of her?
I don't
Why
know.
isn't it a unique looking character?
I don't know.
Their own
Why is
mermaid.
it a mi-
And when she formed
So,
via multiple
is
bubbles,
it-
not just one bubble.
Is it a hive mind or are they individuals?
Well, clearly they're individuals because
I-
they have opposing views.
Yes, I'd prefer it if it was a hive mind.
I
I'd
understand-
prefer
yeah,
it
no,
if
I
this
understand
one
that.
Thing
Or they're beings that
Was-
are all of one sex, one
because
one
if this was
style.
something that was going from planet to planet and destroying them to reset the universe,
Hmm.
it would make more sense that that was a primordial soup of one being, and then something broke away, and that's how life was created.
Yeah,
in
no,
the
no,
bigger
but-
in the bigger story of what was going on in the background, that would make more sense of how.
There needed to be an explanation why it's centered on Tokyo. Was it
I don't
his
mind.
doing?
I don't need the
I
explanation
I
on Tokyo.
don't mind
You
where the
do
fuck it
because
was
they
in the
fell
world.
worldwide, but there's a reason why they centered on Tokyo.
Yeah,
and
and maybe
why.
that-
Centered on Tokyo because they wanted to really emphasize that it was an anime and not a cartoon, even though it's Western.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only reason. That's why.
Yeah, but
the
you could have
characters are
explained-
named what they are.
You could have
and
said that there was a reason why the explosion
could've.
and the epicenter was
I mean, you
Tokyo.
could've.
The
You could've-
explanation is there,
we've
but it's
got a
not
bit of that.
explained.
But it was the bubble touching, but by then the big bubble had already formed, hadn't it?
Yeah.
No, the big bubble.
Oh no.
Well, there's
the
what
big
happened
bubble
then,
forms after
because
the explosion.
She broke away and made contact
Well, this
with
is
a human,
it. Could it
which
have
is
been
why-
that she wasn't? None of them were supposed to make
Well, then,
contact with humans,
here's
just
the
there
way-
and observe.
Yeah, exactly.
But she did.
There's a way to explain it. It's the big bubble that surrounds her is an immune system. They saw one fucking bubble disobey and break away
Yeah.
and wanted to isolate that from the rest so it wouldn't cause a problem.
That makes sense.
But they don't explain
But they
any
don't
of
tell
it.
you any of that.
No.
This is all explanation
So you
from
treat
us.
her like a virus.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
this is
Well,
what
just
I'm
a
No,
rule,
she
just a
isn't.
rule breaker in
Yeah,
general.
even though
Yeah.
she isn't, you treat her like a virus until
Well, clearly
the
these.
rest of them learn that the individuality and emotions are what make everything
This is
special.
it. Yeah,
Our
this is it.
problem
Because
is-
they're devoid of emotion, and
Yeah.
but then she starts to feel emotion and understands how important it is, like the human heart, which helps with their explanation at the end.
And this is why I have a massive problem with the movie, and this is why I don't like it personally. It gives you way too much
Of what
to
you
just
don't want.
assume what you want.
Yeah.
There's
I-
not- no
regardless of that, I'm still
explanations.
captivated by it.
Yeah, that's what
Yes,
it did.
it
Didn't
was-
it? It
it's weird.
captivated you. So that's the right word to use.
It was
weird.
pretty and
captivated
it sounded
you.
good.
Yeah,
Pretty
and,
and
Yeah,
it
it was
sounded good.
pretty.
and I
it sounded
liked,
good
I liked Uta
Yeah, no,
as a character.
the
For some
characters-
reason, I bought into
because
that
she
character.
was 11. I'm going to call it now because she was 11.
Stranger Things.
Yes. She is that blank slate that you can put small bits of emotions into that mean big things to everyone else because she doesn't know much else. So anger is always a 10 or
Yeah.
happiness is always a 10.
Okay,
Because
yeah, that makes
it's
sense.
new.
Yeah,
Whereas, in a normal human, we have a range. 11 didn't, and Uta's the same.
and normally I'd hate a character
she
like
ran-
Hibiki.
She latched onto one person.
What,
Like
the dark
Will.
broody guy
You
that
see,
needs to learn to
normally
play.
I'm not a fan of those sort of characters, but Hibiki showed nice progression in this.
Oh no, they
I
gave a
didn't mind
great
it because
Opening
she
up.
was-
Obviously, the headphone thing was a bit jarring. The
I-
whole, do you have an actual condition or not? However, his actual progression from being this loner to actually accepting people, and that was through his,
his
contact with Uta.
His
That was
character
good.
growth is good.
It is good.
It is good. He's a character. I didn't mind the fact that he was a different version of the loner kind of thing because he was a part of a team.
Yes,
He clearly had a home with
and he
other
did, and he did
outcasts.
care about them because he saves them.
And he genuinely, like he was, when they were losing, he decided to jump in
Yeah.
and fucking win because it was important to them and they needed food.
Yeah.
I mean, the food is a pretty good reason to jump
But-
in.
But that made him more realistic and human
Yeah.
than Naruto, who's, or fucking Goku.
The
Who does it
scientist,
for the sake of doing it.
Yes,
yeah,
That's
yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
That shit. This guy did it because the
He's got
other
people who rely on him.
relied on him
Yeah.
to do that.
the scientist for me was out of place. It
I
was a
didn't-
plot
I-
device.
Yeah, she's an
The
odd.
scientist is there
plot
purely
device.
to...
She's only there to give you those one, the Little Mermaid story,
And
two, to explain the collisions of
She
universes and
Star Treks the
resets.
shit out of fuck.
Yeah.
Where she
Yeah.
explains stuff and uses
Big
things
words.
that don't actually make sense.
Yeah, no.
It's the fucking... We've got to reverse the polarities.
Yeah,
It's
she's-
that
she's-
doesn't mean anything. It
She's
just
talking
sounds
grand
fancy.
scale, isn't she? That's what she's
and
always
it's
thinking.
fucking shit.
Yeah, I like Shin,
Get rid of it.
the
Shin was awesome.
role model of the group.
I love that Shin was almost like an alpha version of our main protagonist.
Yes.
That just went a different
Who
route
even
and
kind of had the same sort of story about
Yeah.
wanting to climb the tower and stuff
failed
like that.
miserably
Yeah.
and found a way to redeem himself. He
Yeah.
was a bit Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I fucking love
Yeah,
him.
so
I
did
wanted
I.
a bit more
By
growth
far
from
my
him
favourite
as well.
character.
Shin, nah.
No, I mean
His growth was there.
it is under the surface.
If you would have had any more from him, it would have been a bit too much about him and
Yeah.
a little less about our main protagonist.
I just wanted
The fact that he
a
put on a leg and ran again after letting us know that he just became a commentator and that's it because of an injury, that was the growth. And the
Yeah.
fact that he was sacrificed his lifelong mission that made him lose his leg to get someone else to do it, that's growth.
I just
Yeah.
wanted an
He
explanation of
became
why.
a proper leader, not just someone that is older than everyone
Yeah.
else.
I wanted a short sentence about why he was fascinated about the tower as well.
Curiosity.
just-
Something
it
like
just-
that.
I would have preferred, even if he just went, I was always curious.
Yeah.
What I was always wondering why that was at the
Yeah,
top there.
or, everything else changes around here, but I can still see that
Yeah.
that viewing platform.
I tell you what would be good.
Just just a tiny bit.
I tell you what
agree.
would
Okay.
be good to have
Yeah.
a conversation. with them talking with the main character, Hibiki, and him talking
Just
about
looking at it, talking about it.
yeah, talking about it, and him going, "Yeah, I was up there on the day it happened," and then he has this like thing because he's like, "You always had a connection with it. I was always curious about it. Let's get you up there and see what happens," sort of thing. And that's what happens. It's just there's never any
No, just
sort of,
just turns out goes one day, kid. You will get to the top.
one day,
Yeah.
kid.
You'll do what I couldn't.
Yeah,
We'll make sure.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say. Just we'll make sure.
Yeah. I get why they needed a bad opposition for the parkour tournament.
Why
you
not
needed
just have a
one.
rival team? All you have to say at the beginning is there are rivals.
Yeah. You needed a darker team, but they just
don't even need a darker
We
team.
didn't
Just
need
like
the
a
kidnapping
rival.
didn't need to happen.
no. The style that they were in was poorly done with the talking through the hands stuff.
Why
and
did they
things
need
like that.
to look like they were Yu-Gi-Oh bad guys?
Yeah,
They were.
They
They
looked
were
like
just
bad Yu-Gi-Oh.
they were
cards.
over bad guide.
Yeah.
Let's put it that
The
way.
masks and the talking through the hand, it's a bit too
Villainous.
too theatrical.
Yeah,
It's a theatrical villain.
yeah.
The
that we
main
didn't
one
need.
that
We
says
just put them in black. I don't care.
Yeah.
Make them wear fucking complete black outfits, while our main guys, if you notice, were all wearing white and blue.
Yeah,
yeah.
We know that they're the opposition. That's it. They're rivals.
Yep.
One of their rival guys looks almost exactly like the Ghost Yu-Gi-Oh player. Do you know
Yeah.
the one I'm on about?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Looks almost exactly like that guy.
They were like the laughing coffin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's
essentially
it
what
was
they were.
kind of
No,
just like, but the laughing coffin actually had a fucking.
They were the
bit
evil,
of a
evil.
plot.
They were proper evil.
Why,
Yeah.
why did they need to give them such high stakes when they fought? Why wasn't it just like,
That's the
yo,
point. Yeah.
we're big
Why not
rivals?
just-
The
We're
idea,
better than you.
well, the idea behind it was they're never going to put their boat up unless the prize is of greater or equal
But we
value.
didn't need them to put the boat up. The rivals didn't need the boat. We didn't need
No,
that.
they had a sub.
As far as the story went, we didn't need to have a competition where these guys wanted the boat.
No,
We
they just hate
needed to
them.
have a
They just hate
competition,
them.
the fact that they wanted to eat.
They hate them. They always win.
Yeah.
They always win, those Blue Blazers.
Yeah, and then they decided to go out, stream it, get sponsorships, and make sure that they were better.
Yeah. One team is like, we're here for the fame, and one's
no.
here for, we're here to
And
eat.
have it so
And not
it
have
would
them
been
bro-
better
not-
until this new partnership came along.
Yeah. Not have them
Fraction.
broadcast it, but actually have an organisation outside the bubble that does broadcast the games. That's it. It's that simple. And they're fed up of losing all the
Everyone
time.
else would have got paid and everything else then.
No. They don't agree to. They just live in the bubble, and these people just fly drones around filming everything they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's just Big Brother.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
It's Big Brother parkour, that's all it is.
Yeah,
Proven show
Hardcore
with parkour.
but I understand why they were streamers. I
Yeah,
feel
I get
like
that.
the best
Because
thing
they
for
were
them.
losing, they needed to find another
Funding.
income.
Yes.
And find another way to eat.
Yeah.
So they started streaming, they got sponsorships, they got big and famous, but the one thing they couldn't do was win until they got those boots.
Yeah,
And, then have them win.
yeah,
Which they did.
have them win against somebody else, but also then you can have the other team, Blue Blazers, basically turn around and be like, "That's cheating. This is not right. This is the old school. This is how it's supposed to be," and then be like,
And then have
"Don't
them
care.
win
We
with
don't."
But
the new girl.
that is us talking
Yeah.
about them centering the parkour more prominent to the plot.
It is
But
quite
it-
promising.
You
was
either do
supposed
it
to
one
be.
way or the other. You either take it right back and say this is what they do in their downtime, or you make it quite a
Or
prominent feature.
you make it so...
45 minutes
Well,
of this
no,
show
you
is
just
parkour.
associate it with pain. If they lose, they don't eat.
Yeah.
That's going to be painful for
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah.
Uta's going to learn about pain through that. That's a way to drive
Hunger.
emotion.
Yeah.
But you say parkour's not the main part of it.
No, I
About
said no. I said the parkour,
Parkour
games.
is purely the transport
It's a
in which
device.
the plot
Yes.
is using.
But it has a very
It's a
prominent part.
storytelling device.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
That's fine, but
It's
it
a
is-
nice way
it
to
is the-
limit how other people can't get to the end goal.
Yeah. It's a good way of doing it as well. But just the way that they set out this rival.
The rivalry was the biggest problem I had with the movie. I don't mind the fact I can suspend disbelief for, black holes and aliens and fucking, the universe coming down and deciding that this planet's going to die now and reset and everything else. I can suspend disbelief for that because my brain can fill in the blanks. But when you see something like that, it's jarring and pulls you out of the
Yeah.
moment of
No.
the movie.
They were unnecessary. They
And
really were.
The pacing really switched up then because it was so the pacing were if you take that out, the pacing from beginning to end was fine. everything progressed at a really good rate until that bit, and you kind of went, well, what the fuck, why?
Yeah.
So
And when you start questioning the movie as why they put something in,
I get.
it pulls you out of the movie.
Yeah.
So I get we're getting to the rating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know you guys are going to rate it higher than I will, but I have a couple of fixes for the way that I would fix this movie from my point of view. I'd be giving it a background to actually why these bubbles are here. Give my rivals exactly what it is, a rivalry instead of a big bad.
It should have been a rivalry.
Yeah.
and not a
Yeah. Of
big
course it
bad.
should.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also,
It should have been Gary Oak style.
Do you mean where they team up at the end to help them up the tower,
Yeah.
sort of thing,
I don't
rather than just
I
give
don't
their
even
boots
want
over
that.
a proper team up?
I just
even the
no.
boots is good.
Even
Yeah.
handing over the boots is a big enough thing for the
Yeah. Not
rival
well.
team to
They
do.
don't. They sell them, but
They
yeah.
said, yeah, they should have handed them over.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
They
I know
should
what
have
you
gone,
mean.
you won. These clearly don't fucking work, but go have a go.
Yeah.
Let me
You
know
need
if
them more than
think
we
these
do
are
right
fucking
now.
Cool, and if we,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, of course.
if we can get every team a pair of these boots, it might make it more interesting.
So that's
Go
the
have a
thing.
laugh with them, and then they use them to get to the town.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the fix from the rivals. My fix for the other bit is actually giving some sort of story to that.
All you need is Uta for 5 minutes to
5
tell him
minute
why
explanation.
why
Not
they
Even
came.
5 minutes. It would take literally a
2 minutes.
minute
Yeah.
to just go. We go from planet to planet, and we reset when things get a bit too chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what
if-
she just needed to explain, and then
But
Yeah,
I
the
have
point where
changed
it's
my
nuclear.
mind.
yeah.
Yeah, if
That's
you
all
get to
you
a
need.
point where it's nuclear,
I don't
and it's
agree with
looking
the others.
dangerous and you're going to kill everything. We take out the primary race.
Yeah.
And my team, or my race,
My sisters.
my sisters all need agreement, and I disagree. But guess what? Even better, the bubbles hang around at the end. All
Why
you
Why
need.
didn't the other bubbles turn into other human forms and get a bit of individuality at the end?
Well, I don't know. She formed out of necessity to save him. So
That's
that
not necessity.
moment there where he was dying in the subtrain
Yeah, so you
forced
can
her
have
to formalise.
share that experience with them, to share about humans and have other.
Well,
of
perhaps
their
that's unheard
species
of. Perhaps
to
she
want
wasn't meant to do
experience.
that.
Maybe she
but,
wasn't-
but because of the feeling she had for him at the time and seeing that he was dying,
Why was
all
that
of a
doing
sudden
that?
something
She-
different happened.
Maybe she wasn't supposed to connect with them, connected DNA, and that actually gave her the ability to change into a human life.
And he was the
form.
only one who could make her disperse.
Maybe that'd be cool. But that's
Well, he
the way
was.
that's the way I would fix this.
Yeah.
I would just give them that 2-3
Yeah,
minute
no,
conversation,
That's all it takes.
and that
really,
would
isn't it?
literally bump this score up for me. Because actually, everything else apart from that, it's fine.
It's
Like,
it's a beautiful film.
Oh yeah, beautiful
is, it
visually
is.
and sound.
It's just someone wrote a script and it's like someone took out the wrong pieces to cut the time down.
Yeah, no, that
Yep.
yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Give me the explanations and leave them in at the ends. That's all I need. And then I'm like, good.
So on to ratings.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a 5.
A 7 for me.
Yep.
It's not perfect. It's got its problems, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
it's a solid 7.5 from me as well. Just gonna check what ratings it got elsewhere again.
it. A 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and
So-
a 6.4.
The Netflix movie Bubbles gets a 6.5 out of 10 from the
That
Summoning
lines
Boys,
up with IMDb.
which is exactly what IMDb gave it. Well, it gave it 6.4, but
6.4, yeah.
we lined up with IMDb on this one for the first time, I think, ever.
Ever.
To get close to
IMDb
another
might have
rating.
got it right.
Yeah,
I
genuinely.
just think maybe it was a. Some people like it, some
I
people don't.
thi- I
50%
think-
from the viewer rating makes more sense as well, because
Yeah.
some people hate it, some people might love it.
I think some people really enjoyed the visual and went with the flow of the music and everything
Yes.
else. And
It does
other-
captivate you, like we
other
said.
people really. It didn't have enough explanations, but I think people expected more than what they should have from the background of the movie.
And on that note, it's time for us to chuff off. All you summoners can join us next time, where we do episode 1 to 6 of another Netflix one, High Rise Invasion. If you've got any questions or queries, or just want to see what we're up to, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at How Not to Summon, or join our Discord at How Not to Summon a Podcast, or go to our website with all our links on it at hownottosummon.com. I've been Sheeny Senpai.
I've been Jim.
I've been Grayson.
See you later.
See ya.
Ta-ra.
Put it in the bubble.
na 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 na